for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, so everybody is here, including Lance tonight, except Tom, and I'm just assuming he's gonna be late. I'd like a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Last first, second.
Second, I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, discussion. So tonight's kind of an interesting, just a slightly different agenda. So what we're gonna do is we'll work down through the reorganization of the board. Jerry will go ahead and they'll do the oath of office for Tom and Lance. And then that will pretty much take care of the action items as far as personnel and the board reorganization. We've asked Deb to stay. Way to go, Debbie.
Let's have a sample.
Let's see, well, and then tonight, just to make sure, there were a couple of significant things that we have to sign in here. One of them is the operating agreement that we had talked to on the outside. That's probably the most significant, right? Jerry, this operating agreement.
It's important. It could wait if needed, but it's important.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so why don't we get down to the reorganization of the board and Lance? Eric? Let's do it.
Okay, let's do this. Lance, can you come on over?
Who's not the cow? Oh, no, that's right.
You got it back.
And so we've got some documents that Brittany, well,
The county is sent, and we'll get that all signed and processed, but in the meantime, we'll do the official swearing in. You've probably done something like this before, a couple of them. So I'll state, maybe state your name and then just repeat it. So I
Lance A. Hartwell,
do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear
that I am a citizen of the United States and of the state of
that
Washington,
I'm a citizen of the United States and the state of Washington,
and that I am legally qualified to assume the office of Grapeview School District Director.
and I'm legally qualified to assume the office of Grapeview School District Director.
That I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the state of Washington,
and the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office to the best of my ability.
I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office to the best of my.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. For you over here. Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. Being here with us, and you brought cookies on your last day too. So Lance, you're the new person, you gotta bring cookies from them.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Tom, before you sit down.
oh, I tell you, your timing is absolutely impeccable. Okay. Well, what we do is you're up for re-election.
Welcome. Congratulations. Very cheerful. So, yeah, just repeat after me, you know, you're going to pause, yeah. So I
Tom Anderson,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I am a citizen of the United States
that I am a citizen of the United States
and of the state of Washington.
and of the state of Washington,
That I am legally qualified to assume the office of Grapeview School District Director.
that I am legally qualified to assume the office of Director of Grapeview School District.
That I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
And I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the state of Washington.
and the state of Washington.
And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office.
And I will faithfully and impartially discharge
The duties of this office.
the duties of this office. There was the discharge part.
Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Sherry. Move forward. Okay, so now we're down to item number C, which is the nomination and election of the board of trustees. So at our offsite, by the way, welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
At our offsite.
I knew there'd be food.
Perfect. We had decided in the case of, election of the board and chair that, and I guess what we need to do is to approve those elections, and we agreed at the offsite that Deb would become the new board chair and I would be her vice chair.
Well, remember, we did,
What I said that.
we,
Love my head, yeah.
we were all like in favor of it, but this is not where we nominate, right?
This is
Does
number
it have
one
to be an action item though for next meeting?
No, it's action item right now.
Oh,
So I move that we nominate Edric as our board chair.
Second.
Okay, Tom, discussion?
I think she'd be really good.
Sounds like a last
And,
place.
and she volunteered.
I know that. I know she will, yes.
So, all in favor?
I,
100%.
okay, so now Edric takes the position.
What's that? Right now, do you switch? Or then.
No, she does it right now.
Okay.
Congratulations.
So, I wouldn't finish this meeting?
No,
No.
Is that right?
you'll finish it as whatever get elected.
Oh, is that right, the vice chair?
Oh, we thought we would finish it, yeah, and it, that's
No,
okay.
that's how we've always done it.
Okay.
Okay, so, well, then, bye. Goodbye. Well, thanks for nothing. Obviously, you can see we do this a lot. Yeah. Okay.
any fire drill.
I'll take my stuff.
Sure, leave the gavel there for
So, Madam Chair, I nominate Les for the position of vice chair.
second.
Okay, so then all in favor?
Any
Oh,
discussion?
Sorry, any discussion?
I think he'd be really good. We volunteered.
Well, then we'll call to a vote, all in favor,
I,
1%.
congratulations, Les, you're back in.
Goes like a landslide.
Okay, should we do that first? Okay. Do I just go to the vote for the?
No.
Third nomination. I would like to nominate Tom Anderson as the board's legislative representative.
Okay.
I'll
Second,
second,
yep.
I'll be the first motion.
Do I second it then, or? Is
No, he seconded it. And
Discussion.
there discussion?
I think he'd be really good at it. He volunteered for it.
Okay, then we'll call the vote.
I,
100%.
Aye.
yay, congratulations.
Okay, right on, thanks, Tom.
Don't abuse your power.
I swore.
And the other nominations? All right, well, let's move on down to recognition of visitors.
We recognize each other.
Thank you for coming. Okay, and then recognition.
So-
Deb?
Yes, we did want to not be so, pick you out so harshly, so come back up here. And we did buy you a little gator thing, and it shipped to my house yesterday. It does not arrive. It's not as fast as Amazon. So I will make sure I get that to you because we know where you live.
Yeah.
And it's just a little recognition purple, and actually a throw blanket. That would be nice. I waited for me to read your book, yeah, and have wrapped in gator colors and then little certificate.
Oh, thank you very much.
For
Thank you.
your signature, so thank you
Thank you
for
very much.
being so dedicated.
You know, I'm not leaving, I'm still living in Grapeview, so if you need a casserole or, you know, some cookies, or you have my phone number, yeah. Yeah, I'll have a different email, but you know.
We have it, right?
Yeah.
We have it.
Yeah, okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Was that who's this time?
Don't worry, we'll get that.
We're gonna go with announcements and recognition. December 18th. Tomorrow. Second grade, fourth grade, doors open at 6. How did it go yesterday?
I wasn't here, I was at my other school, board meeting, but it was good.
Good, standing room only.
Like,
they were
lined up at 5:30, some came in some
Yeah.
with, because they were here.
Good to get the seats.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome, yeah.
And tomorrow, I watched the rehearsal today, it's adorable.
Oh, so cute. December 19th, immune release for winter break. Make sure they're ready for that. December 22nd through January 2nd is winter break. January 16th is end of first semester. January 16th, also Beauty and the Beast performance, doors open at 6. And then it plays again on the 17th. Oh, that's a noon or 1:30, so it's during the school day?
I think it's Saturday.
Oh, it's a Saturday. And then January 19th, Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, no school. And I please have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Oh, good.
discussion?
Who's this, Brittany as a fiscal coordinator? What is that?
Well, I hear she does really great work.
What does the fiscal coordinator do? I'm guessing it has something to do with money.
It was answered.
Yeah, so, I think Jerry might talk about it later, maybe we should just talk about it now.
Well,
With
it's on
Sherry's-
the agenda now,
with
so.
Sherry's retirement, this is Brittany is stepping in and taking over the majority of what Sherry did for us. Sherry had a different title that had been here for a long time and kind of hung around through different iterations of her career. And it wasn't necessarily as descriptive to what the role really did. So Brittany is going to handle payroll for the district, accounts payable and purchasing, all has to do with coordinating our money and making sure we're spending it appropriately on the purchasing that we make, as well as the payroll for the district. So that is a new title, but a substantially similar role to what Sherry did.
So, Brittany, will you be your report then? Oh, okay, great.
We don't have
Congratulations.
moving offices or anything, she'll be right, we always knew to find her.
Well, congratulations. And then superintendent 2-year contract? I don't know.
Other 4-year interviews.
And also the approval of payroll and benefit contract for Terry.
I mean. I don't know, at a retreat, I was sort of. In my mind, kind of pushing for a 3-year for you, but. But I think we all landed on the 2-year, didn't we? Yeah. Well, that all looks really good.
Okay, so can we move to a vote, please? For the consent agenda for this is December 17th, 2025.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we want to principal and superintendent reports, Jerry.
All right, so, some items, oh, that's. Is that? Want to read along? I'm excited that we've taken on Parent Square, and I've been surprised to see how much staff are excited to have that as a communication tool for our families. Many of them use it from other in other school districts, North Mason, and they really like it. And some people here, have used it as a parent, and, so after the first of the year, we'll start pushing more of our communications into Parent Square and getting people up to speed and, as a mechanism for more efficiently communicating with families, so they can choose to get the information via text or, a message in the app or email. And we can,
It shows them.
yeah, exactly. And, you know, if they don't wanna download the app, they can have it. Use it for other ways. And so this school year, we're gonna continue with the other mechanisms that we've used for communication. And then once we've kind of gotten through the rest of the school year, look at, maybe, letting go of a few of the others as we watch that transition.
Is one of them Skyward?
No, Skyward, well, what is it? There is a messaging via Skyward. What's one, is it one call?
No, one's called different. We just call Skyward messaging.
Yeah, Skyward messaging.
So there's multiple.
Yeah, and we also have one call also, which is a direct messaging. And
That for like snow days or lockdowns or stuff, okay.
And
But Parent Square can do that too, right? Yeah.
we also use Flash Alert as well, and yeah, a whole bunch of different things. Then we're hoping to streamline some of those into one tool.
Sounds good.
Because families don't read their emails so readily anymore, so this seems to be a good source. So I'm excited to see that shift through the end of this year and in the next year. You mentioned Skyward, we're out in the process. Skyward is our student information system. There's lots of data on the students and attendance and grades, et cetera. And classes and schedules and all kinds of data in there. And then we also use Skyward as our fiscal tool for managing our money as well. So we are, the state has, actually, it's the ESDs and with SIPC, they have developed a updated system. They call it the cumulative, or we call it Q for short. Many districts, about a third, half of the districts in the state have already shifted over to that. And they've kind of worked out the bugs, so now we're ready to get after it. And so we've been checking our data and learning about it, so that we're ready to shift into that for next year. We'll be using the Q. Some of our staff are very happy about that because it should allow for some efficiencies and working with the data for our people. So we're ready. So
Is that what kind of cost is this to us?
well, we already paid for Skyward. I think this is just we'll just now be paying for the Q.
Yes. So is Skyward an accounting program too? Oh, okay. I
When
didn't
Jerry
know.
says with SIPC, that's an acronym, and that's the parent company, and they run a program called Skyward that we use. We use it for human resources, payroll, budgeting, and student information and financial information.
Yeah, as a parent, I had always just thought Skyward was a communication tool.
That's the side you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly expensive, but it's very useful. There's other private companies out there like Power School that operate them, student information systems. But most of the districts in our state use Skyward or Q.
The firewall protect that information. Is that managed at the ESD level, or is that managed at our level with Brian? So where's the firewall?
So I know who owns it, right? So SIPC is owned by AESD, which is an accumulation of all the ESDs in the state of Washington, right? So, the ESDs own that. They developed it for schools and they own that resource, and so they manage that through a company with SIPC. And, they're very careful and cautious about the management of the data security of that. In fact, our ESD superintendent from 113 is now the executive CEO of SIPC. He's very into student security. So you kind of already know my next thing, because we had it in the consent agenda, but that is that we posted our position for Sherry's position and we interviewed multiple people, and Brittany was the best candidate. And so we'll post her position and kind of reorganize some things to make sure we get everything done. So you didn't ask about Sherry, but Sherry will be on a very partial contract through the end of the year to make sure people keep getting paid while we're learning how to do payroll. With that, people would appreciate that. So she's only gonna be doing that task, and it's gonna be very isolated. And
Would you figure 1 day a week?
I think we're looking at about 1 day a week in terms of total time for her to manage that. Yeah. So we want people to keep getting their paychecks properly, so.
And did it make sense to train Brittany to do payroll in Skyward and then turn around
And at the very same time, train her how to do payroll within the new program Q.
So as soon as that training for Q starts with payroll, Brittany's gonna learn payroll on Q.
And at the end of June, when we transition to Q,
Brittany will pick up payroll and Sherry will officially ride off into this. It's a great transition plan.
The next one, I just wanted to let you know that I've been talking with the Rural Ed Center. Several legislators have come to that event, and I went to the ESD legislative event, and I haven't talked to our guys about this particular issue yet, I don't believe, but if opportunity arrived for you to have communication with legislators as this session moves forward, a fairly significant issue, which surprised, John Braun, he was at our last meeting when I brought this up, and he was very surprised to realize that the state, not that the state has unfunded mandates, but he didn't really realize that it applied in this particular area. And that is that the state requires us to have 12 sick days for our staff. Okay, that's great. People get sick, you need to have those days available, but they only pay for 4. And so instantly we have a gap, right? And I guess they're assuming that maybe people don't actually use them, I don't know, but people do use them, and then we've already used all of the sick days the state has funded us for our various staff. Things happen, people get sick. And so for this year's funding, and so now we're working into levy money essentially. He had no clue that existed. And not only do they not pay us for enough days, they also don't pay us the amount of money per sub that it actually costs us, right? So we pay subs more than what they give us because you can't get subs if you don't, right? And so I talked with Jennifer Pretty at the ESD about this, and she already knew about it. And she said her calculations are statewide that there's a $178 million gap between what the state funds for substitutes and what we actually spend on substitutes. And so the last couple of years, they talked about the big 3 legislative initiatives in which they have made almost no progress on. And my conversation with them is, okay, well, if we can't fix these big things, this one's really clear. It's not a giant restructuring and formula issue. It's like, we need, you tell us, it costs us this much, and you give us this much, let's close that gap. So if you have an opportunity to speak to legislators or other, I think this would be a really simple, straightforward way of addressing some of the fiscal concerns that we are faced in schools.
Well, the fact that he didn't, oh, sorry.
That's okay.
The fact that he didn't know that that's how it worked shows that these people who are voting on this, they don't read what they're, and, part of that is because they're human and they're presented with, 1,200-page bills that have a bunch of garbage buried in them, right? And, but to fund 25% of it,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy.
And in essence, it's probably actually less than that, because they also allow for bereavement leave and they allow for family leave. And so when it comes down to it, the percentage is probably a bit smaller.
So is that within the 12 days?
No, sort of. Yeah, it has to come out of your.
But
If you go over it, like a bereavement, for example, it would take out of your 12 days, right? But eventually, if you had none left, you could still have bereavement.
But I mean, at least the family leave is subsidized by the employee themselves. I mean, they're paying into that through the payroll tax.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but to just, they mandated the days off, right?
Yeah.
The PTO.
So. Just
Anyway, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah, it's
just a point clarity here is if there's 12 days, and let's just say a person is sick for 4. Do they get paid those other 8 days, or are they paid if they're used?
So the people get paid no matter their regular salary, and then we have to, when they're gone, we have to hire a substitute to cover their position.
Okay.
Right, and so we only get 4 days for substitute.
So essentially it's the cost of the substitute.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess the point was, is I've seen labor contracts where there's sick leave. If you don't do it, you get paid if it's like a vacation.
Yeah.
So in those cases, there's no substitute.
Yeah.
If you're sick, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
They're banking on people not using it, and
okay.
but that's just a hope as you were in the community and you're interacting with leaders that that's a gap that we face. And nobody, not even the Senate financial leader knew that was the case, so. But Andrew did. And when I mentioned it to the other superintendents, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, that's a big deal. And then the last item is, you might have received in your email from the Public Disclosure Commission that you have to complete an F1 form, which, they sent me an email to remind you that you have to do that every year. So even you, Deb, as you were part of the board in 2025, you still have to do that. Yeah. So if you're.
I was thinking.
So if you're part of the board, even one day in 2025, you have to do the F1, so you can look at that, so they don't email me again.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, I'm Cindy.
All right. Last 2 weeks are crazy around here with winter and the performances. I'm gonna give a special shout out to Ms. Shannon because I don't know how many hours she's been working. Maybe I don't wanna know, but she's a rock star because she's putting on these 2 performances and what she does with the kids it's incredible. Even the little TK students are learning choreography and so many things. And she's working on Beauty and the Beast. So she has all those things at the same time and it's incredible. So Tuesday, like I said, standing room only. I mean that, like everywhere, standing room only. It was amazing. And then Thursday, let me know if you plan on coming. I know Lance may come. I'll save you a spot. So just let me know. But Thursday is tomorrow's our next one, our last one. And they've been rehearsing all day. And then homemade cookies on Friday and watching The Grinch, and this is something that the middle schoolers come do with our youngest kids, and it's a tradition. We have some Grapeview Gators that are in high school that are coming back for this, because it's their favorite. They have parent permission to skip a little bit to come and do that with their Grapeview Gators. I didn't get an update yet, I was hoping, but our last basketball game is tonight versus Hood Canal. Varsity's only lost one game this whole season, which is incredible. So Hood Canal is a really tough team, so last game, they'll have their celebration tomorrow. We also had an ASB dance on Friday, Candyland. Kids came back and decorated, it was student led. It was good, so they had fun. I'm sure raised a little bit of money, or at least covered their costs. And ASB is doing good things because they're also doing the McTakeover. Mark your calendars on the 14th of January, 5 to 7. McDonald's, Belfair. We typically do pretty well there. And if you come in and buy some food, or if you're not in the mood for McDonald's, you can buy a coupon book. And give it to someone else, but it really does help them, and they're out there in the cold and rain trying to get people in there, so it's pretty cute. Next one is 2 character strong assemblies for January. So it was too much to fit into December, so we'll be awarding certificates for empathy on the 9th. It's going to be LLT led, because we're resetting expectations in that and kind of some goal setting, but the next one on the 30th is still going back to student-led character strong assembly for the next one. Yes.
It's LLT state.
Oh, learning leadership team, excuse me. So that's myself and 3, Connie Severance, Megan Pierce, and Lindsay Murphy. So we're running that one to pulling in all the things, resetting expectations. It's the first week back, so.
Who was the last one? You said it, Connie and Megan.
And Lindsay Murphy, the 2nd grade teacher. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm sure Andrea will talk about this, but it's kind of a big deal. We're full. So I think starting in January, we're like at 200 and maybe 240. Okay, that's really good. She'll talk about that, but we're doing amazing. I still every day get choice transfer requests, so we're full. Not in every class though, so our enrollment is solid. And part of that, people want a student teacher as well. So Jerry gets constant emails from the college asking, can our teachers come student teach there? It's an awesome place to learn, and I think that shows that we're an awesome school to be at and to learn your craft of teaching. So we try to accommodate as many of them as we can, so it helps us and helps them. All right, last but not least, 2 things, band. I know we were really excited about band at the beginning of the year. They played their first song in front of the TK through 2nd grade lunch. And I was actually shocked in a good way. I'm like, it was good. There were notes being played. They all played, like, it made sense. It was a song. Miss Shannon was like, they can't do this in front of middle school. But when I heard, I'm like, they did amazing.
What instruments?
Right now we have trombone, trumpet, clarinet, flute. She added some percussion, so that's new. We're working on a saxophone, getting a saxophone. But yeah, a lot of community support for that. We're also offering Monday morning practice, drop in before school starts. We have 2 volunteers, Mr. Goodell and Mr. Grinnell. are running those practices for kids where parents can just drop their kids off early and they get essentially almost private lessons, right? So it's amazing.
Are you instrument limited?
Yes,
So that's why you said when you're adding a saxophone, that means the purchase of a saxophone?
or we're in the works of getting a donation. So there are some people that say, oh yeah, I have a saxophone, maybe it needs repair. So we had a generous contribution where someone actually paid for the repairs of the instruments that we have up in Shelton. That was amazing, so we'll get some more instruments back then. But we're always looking for instruments.
Types of instruments to move forward, as far as other brass instruments, or is there any? So is the limitation instrument, so if let's say somebody wanted to play the French horn,
Right. Yeah, they would either have to rent that.
is that a problem for the kids? Is that an issue?
Yeah, some of them, we have community people that are actually renting for families. So money isn't a barrier for them. They're sponsoring kids. We have quite a few kids that we had people pick up the tab for their rental fees. Yeah, so it could be about $45 a month, you know? And for many of our kids, that's a barrier, so.
If, the reason I ask, I was a French horn player, and I started on French horn. And so, I mean, my parents rented, so I'm just trying to figure out the barrier to it.
Yeah,
What about the strings?
not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
So, when,
Yeah, some, it's like.
when. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but this is way interesting. So when the kids pick their instruments, so is there a demonstration? Here are all the instruments we're gonna play, here's the notes play. That's how I chose my instrument, based on a demonstration.
Yes, we did do that. I'm not sure if they brought the French horn, but I can ask. But it's kind of limited to the company that we're renting from too. But I'll ask if there's a French horn option.
Well, I'll tell you, if there's any interest, if they do a French horn and somebody can't pay, let me know.
Okay,
I think
thank you. That's very generous, thank you.
No, band is near and dear to my heart. I have nothing but good memories from band, so.
Yeah, awesome, thank you. I'll tell Miss Shannon that. Yeah, the band's going so well, the kids love it, so. And then the last but not least, and some people in this room might have been a part of this, but we don't know. Our two community organizations took care of so many families for the holidays. So the Mason Benson Center and the GCA sponsored quite a few families, and their generosity, like we've seen the families pick up the gifts already wrapped and for their kids, and it really made a difference. So they've written thank you notes. I'm sure you'll see those thank you notes, but it's been amazing. And so on behalf of those families, they really appreciate that. So. Yeah. All right.
How many student teachers do we have?
Right now, two, one in middle school in Miss Pittoff's classroom, and then second grade with Miss Murphy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So we had one other one who was.
Oh, yeah.
We had the original student in that. She wanted to do
Oh.
her special ed, and then, so we kind of kept a continuous flow of things through here, what's like WGU, Western Governors University. I've worked with a lot to try to keep people in here, and it's actually been beneficial to us because at least one of them retired, and several of our paras are in their programs too. And so our focus has been, we have a good school, let's use these good people to create more good educators and show them what the school should be like. So we've had quite a few, we're going to continue to do that. Our only caution is we don't want to overwhelm our teachers. So, so we don't take necessarily everything, but we try to have some every year.
I think maybe Wes and Tom are the only ones who were here then, but I was a student teacher here. So, you know, but it's a good thing to, you know, it's a long job interview, right?
Don't tell the other students that, because they might think, oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Vicky Rice,
Oh,
Yeah.
Vicky.
yeah. All right, that's it.
Thank
That's all,
you,
folks.
thank you, thank you.
Yep.
Let's move on to operational services. Andrea, please.
All right, so Brittany's gonna pull up our presentation. This is information through the month of November. We'll start with, one of the topics that Cindy touched on, which is our enrollment. And I won't go over each line, but you can see we're above what we budgeted, and I did kind of look ahead to where we might be in January, because we've enrolled a couple and lost, I think, one during the month of December. But when you look at that year-to-date average in the middle, in January, that year-to-date average is probably gonna be 230, which is 20 students above what we budgeted for. So we have grown a bit. We have one class per grade, some of those classes are big, so we're really,
So to 240, did I hear that correctly?
Well, yeah.
230.
it-
230.
Yeah, 230, but we're having a couple more students start after break.
So if you were to look then, that additional, okay, so it's the storage kids, do that, so you're sitting here on, 21, 26, 28, 23. So we have yet to hit that 30 kid mark.
No, we do, seventh grade, right?
Yeah, sounds great.
So it's always right there, okay.
so the number in the middle, that year-to-date are averages.
Yeah, I get that.
So you've heard both the number 240 and the number 230. What Cindy said is we're approaching that 230. And her number is head count, so the individual bodies in the school give us 240. We're funded based on FTE or full-time equivalent, which is what these numbers are. These will always be a little bit lower. But the average is going to be in January about 230, so.
So what happens, is there a breakover point to where all of a sudden we've got to add a teacher and then you got a
Yeah,
teacher
that's-
comes in and you only have like 5 students you can do?
Kind of a song and dance between what the capacity is in the classroom. So we have class size limits that are contracted with the teachers' bargaining agreements also. The smaller grades have lower class sizes. As the grades get larger, the class sizes can be a little bit bigger.
Okay.
So that's what you'll see, in sixth grade and seventh grade, we're almost at 30. If you had a kindergarten almost at 30, you would have to have 2 classes. But there is a breaking point because we're funded about 11,000 or so for each student. So if you're over by 1, you don't have enough money to hire another teacher, but if you're over by 10, you have enough money to hire another teacher. So Cindy works with all the teachers on their class size. If they exceed the limit that we've agreed on, they're considered an overload, and we give those teachers some different considerations based on what they need. But we are, like Cindy said, we're pretty full right now, so she's taking a hard look at the choice transfers that are asking to come in, if it makes sense, if we should take them, are they a sibling where one student's already here and then the kindergartner's old enough to go to school now? Well, yeah, we would do that to keep the family at the same school.
So the parents, do they help extend the certificated teacher in the class that's approaching that limit of contracting? Can a para kind of help with that, or does it have to be another full-time? You have to split the class.
I think that's what, one of the considerations she talks about in our overage meeting. There's a monetary part of that, right, that's in our CBA, in their CBA, but there's considerations like, for reading groups, do you need extra para support? So, it's honestly what's best for the kids, and if where the resources are kind of moved around.
Then every class could be different too,
Yeah.
because 25 second grade kids in 1 year could be different than 25 third graders in the same year, just the actual students in each classroom, which is why Cindy meets with each teacher and make sure we give them what they need.
It's an interesting problem to have.
It is,
Mhm.
It's certainly the right side of the problem to be over, so.
it definitely is.
But again, I'm just trying to understand, just,
Is there a trend of where they're coming from, or Mason, Shelton? That, whichever way, you notice that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. We have some students returning from homeschool, the online school. I would say many more coming from North Mason, absolutely.
I just wonder if the learning failing has anything to do with that, or,
Yeah, not.
so.
Yeah, they just, when I speak to the parents, they're like, we've always wanted our kids here. Please let us come here.
again, good job.
All right, next slide, Brittany. This is our revenues and expenditures compared to budget. Revenues are on the top, we're trending a bit over what we budgeted for the year. Expenditures on the bottom, we're trending a little bit under what we planned for the year. This is also the right side of the story to be on, so. Similar trend to what we saw last year. All right, the next slide, this is our general fund, how we spend our money. The top half is salaries, payroll, and benefits. In the bottom half of that slide are the things that we buy or the contracted purchase services, what we hire people to do for us. If you look in that bottom right-hand corner, that's going to be the most interesting, important number to look at through the year. How much money we're planning to have left over balance at the end of the year. The only encumbrances that we have listed in there right now are payroll encumbrances. So if we keep all the people we have right now, that's how much more money we think we'll spend on payroll. That's stayed pretty stable so far throughout the year, which is good.
I just had a quick question.
Absolutely.
What drove the minus for employee benefits and payroll taxes? Why is it a minus? On the right, the
Oh,
balance.
so that's the projected balance. It essentially means we budgeted wrong. We didn't really know what the payroll taxes and benefits would be. It depends on how many of our employees take benefits.
Okay, so it's guesswork really for us.
It is, the budget is guesswork, and budget's only accurate on one very individual day at 1 hour of that day. And then reality starts happening.
Essentially, what you're saying is that we want budget by about 26,000, which
is-
is,
It was nothing. My question really was, I just wanted to understand what drove.
right.
What
No,
drove.
it's a good question. It's just where we are and, you know, where we think we're gonna end up. How well did we guess, right? And it looks like we guessed pretty well
So
on that, yeah, in case, unless something disastrous happens. Yeah.
Okay, this next slide is about our general fund balance. So last year, you'll see in the green line, we ended up with a pretty significant ending fund balance, planning for the curriculum spend this year, and we're kind of following that same trend, but a little bit more money this year. Which again is a good problem.
So are we banking for curriculum spend?
Yes, so we have a curriculum adoption planned this summer to start implementing a new curriculum.
How often does that happen?
6 years,
What's that?
every 6 years, or
Okay, and so we try to break it up a few years before it's due, then hopefully we can have some surplus to help.
Yeah, curriculum adoption is a pretty significant chunk of money, around $100,000 for a district our size. But it's hard to, we can't save it all in 1 year, so there's a gradual saving and then a spending.
Yeah.
And the other at the bottom corner, left corner, is just what our fund balance is comprised of. But very little green bar at the bottom is carryover from last year for our transition to kindergarten program. That money the state allocates to us, and we can only spend it on the TK program. The other money that we get for general basic education, we can spend it on any grade we want to, but that's very prescribed. So we have about $55,000 in TK revenue from last year that we have to set aside. That's what that is. The next chunk in purple is the minimum fund balance. So the board has set that we need to keep a minimum fund balance of that amount, can't drop below that. That's just to give us a cushion in case of an emergency. And the blue on top is everything that's left over is discretionary spending that you can decide how to spend.
What's an emergency?
Oh, in case this, well,
Enroll.
water
but last year our water got contaminated and had to spend money to.
Emergent maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Could be that, it could be also that the state is having a cash flow problem, like they had this last summer where they short paid part of our apportionment in 1 month and then paid more of it in the following month. And depending on the size of the district and how close we are, when our payroll comes due, if we don't have the money,
Oh, so you
From
have to
the
make
state.
up for it if the state doesn't come to.
you know,
Oh,
so.
so I, in all of my memory anyway, we haven't had to dip into that. But a couple of years ago, enrollment was starting off very, very kind of concerning.
right.
And our budget is derived from that, well, primarily from that, I guess. And so suddenly it was looking like we were gonna be in a negative, right? And then as things kind of rolled out, more kids came in and things leveled out, but it's that kind of thing that could be be trouble for us. So, for Lance's benefit, can you explain, it's not just one curriculum? Right?
so we have. You can call it something.
Yeah, we have a 6-year cycle plan for math, reading, science. So those are, and then there's social studies, health. Social studies is a little bit funny though, because,
It's like supplemental
well,
to it.
it's hard because some grades are
Yeah,
Washington State history, not very many curriculum companies may go with one
Right,
curriculum
right,
company
right.
makes that, and last time they presented that Bigfoot was real in the last sample I got, so, you know, there's.
Oh, really?
something Weird, so,
what's wrong with that?
I don't know, it was funny, I was like, is this?
It's real.
They have different dollar costs too, so your math curriculum might cost significantly more than just the social studies curriculum, so school districts in general break them up, they wouldn't do all of the types of curriculum in 1 year. So you might have a big curriculum spend this year because it's math, smaller one 3 years from now because it's English language.
So it's significant planning.
Okay. One other question on the kindergarten of mandatory spending. So is that for materials? Is that, so when you carry over?
It's for
is that-
everything, so we're funded, it's for the transition to kindergarten program, so not the 5-year-olds in kindergarten, but the grade before that. It's for the teacher, a paraeducator, the paraeducator support, and the supplies that go in that classroom.
Okay. They just wanted to make sure that you're actually spending it on that class, right,
Yeah.
absorbing it into somewhere else.
Yeah. It's
Dedicated.
unlike the funding for any other grade level we have. It's fun, to keep track of stuff.
Interesting history in America.
All right, next slide. These are our other fund balances. So, ASB, capital projects fund, debt service fund, and the transportation vehicle fund and their corresponding balances. Any questions on that slide? All right, this is a look ahead. We already talked about all this stuff, so I'm done. This was, I like to put some notes on this slide, just the things that I'm thinking about, that Jerry and I have been talking about as we look forward to the rest of the year. So enrollment is definitely on our mind. And we're cautiously optimistic that it keeps trending where it is. And then evaluating the curriculum, we're gonna be planning on that all year. As we get closer to budgeting, and through the state legislative session, if there's any topics that are important that I want to share with you guys, I'll put some notes in that there and then we can talk about it if we need to.
So above budget is not a bad thing, right?
Correct.
So,
When enrollment is above budget, it's not a bad thing. When
Oh.
expenditures are above budget, then
right. So when this next year then, so we have 240 whatever, and we know who's leaving. Do we assume there's gonna be so many choice transfers, or is that just a guess?
You kind of have a choice transfer bucket of people that want to come and are waiting for the answer.
Yeah, it's pretty much all of August. To start, like rocking and roll, like, yeah, and it's a really fine balance, because you don't know who's going to walk through that door on day one, that they're like, oh, I have to register, you know, that does happen, like, all the time. And so it's like, oh, I don't want this family who we should have room, but go enroll in another school, they wanna know as well. If their little sweet kindergartner can start on the first day of school. So, yes, there is a list, but those people have to be kind of patient as we work on, if there's room or not.
So you'll see that in June, there's this concept called creative tension. Where you're seeing bubbles of people leaving and you have bubbles of people coming, but you really, it's a real gray area there in July. And then all of a sudden August, it starts to turn by September, then we have a clear vision. So it's been an interesting process to go through these post-COVID years.
But what you'll find is enrollment ebbs and flows. And, you know, a trend of 1 year does not mean that is going to be sustained. And so you might trend down the following year. About 3 years before we did the modernization project of the school, I was the chair of the facilities committee, trying to determine, do we build a new school? Do we remodel our existing school? You know, what does that look like? Do we combine the middle school in with the elementary? And I think what we landed on was the modernization would have to, we targeted a maximum of about 245 students. That would be bursting at the seams, right? And so.
We're so close to that.
But at the time that we were doing it, you know, our enrollment was around 196 to 200, something around that. And so 245 seemed like, you know, yeah, far in the future, you know, but so we're approaching that, and but that's sort of what I think the school design can handle. Right. So anyway, it's good to know that it just kind of goes up and down. Yeah.
Can I make one comment about the curriculum? The 6-year cycle doesn't always mean that we adopt a new curriculum.
Right.
We've had the same science curriculum way longer than 6 years. Because maybe there's nothing better out there. Like, maybe it's working for us, it still is aligned with the standards. So while we budget for that cost, we also make rational decisions that, you know, not just to spend money, just to spend money.
Just because it's new.
Yeah, and because it's cycle, or it's up for adoption. So,
Because Bigfoot's a.
yes, yes.
The only other thing that I had, not in my presentation, was that I did get to watch the practice for the program today, and it was so adorable. If you guys can come tomorrow, it is fantastic. And I heard you talking about the band, whether they could perform or practice in front of the middle schoolers or not. And the middle schoolers were the audience today for the littler kids, and they were so polite and so kind. And it was such a cool thing to watch. I just loved it. I could hear them practicing from my office, and it's honestly one of my favorite things for that piece. So I can hear it's neat, and the band is getting better. It is really amazing. You can identify songs and hear things. I was in band and notes in junior high also. So it was very, very fun. I also got to meet one of our student teachers today. Lindsay Murphy brought around her student teacher named Dane Welch. We talked a little bit about where he came from, and he's a South Kitsap High School graduate, which is where my son graduated from. And I learned that they were 2 years apart from each other, and I showed him a picture, as all moms do, of their kid. Isn't he adorable? And he's like, "Oh, I know that kid." So it's a very small world, and how people end up in different places. But he's a great. He seems so excited. Likes being here. So it was a great day. Anyway, that's all of it. Well, thank you, everyone.
Cindy, you'll save us a seat.
Absolutely. You and Pauline?
Pauline's in the Caribbean. Yeah, so for me, yeah. Party of one.
I gotcha.
Thank you.
All right, I'd back to you. All right, thank you. I'm looking for a motion to approve the 25-26 operating agreement.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments? No?
So you have the official. This is the official.
Okay, so no comments on it?
We'll stop.
Okay. Then
Good.
I'm gonna call to a vote, please. All in favor?
Hi.
100%.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
I request a break before we move into the legislative session conversation.
take a 6 o'clock, take a 5-minute break.
Didn't see the cookies when I walked in.
Can I just repeat that? Tom, please.
The legislation. No, not legislation, the legislature is wringing their hands to try and figure out how they're going to fund all the things that they have promised their constituents that they're gonna do. And what we saw this year, this calendar year, was a dramatic increase in taxes. And I can't quote you the number of different ways they're taxing businesses and communities, wage earners. And the projection was that the revenue that they raised to solve the problem would enable them to continue to fund the programs that they budgeted for. And before the previous governor went out of office, he signed a significant wage increase for the state employees. So what led to the last year's legislature doing a lot of ways to resolve the shortfall has created a situation where the revenue is not being raised because of the laws that they passed and the taxes that they put on various people and organizations. Travis did an amazing job for us talking about his perspective. And I encourage you guys to follow the news kind of on a weekly basis the rest of the month here, and as we get started into the legislative session coming up. There's a rumor that the legislature wants to implement an income tax in this next session as a way to generate the revenue that's needed for all those budgeted items. I don't believe that the revenue will be able to pay the bills that the legislature has established. And I expect it to be a dogfight, and want you to keep watching it. I sent at least a couple of you to your GSD 54 email the link to the WASDA e-clippings. And that's a source of information. The governor and the legislature provide certain levels of information to us. And it'll be either released in news articles or maybe a news conference.
Nothing's come out yet, though, right?
It's
It's
important that you try and get as many objective sources of what's going on from the tax and revenue standpoint, as well as the results that have come from last year's legislative actions. We talked about at the offsite and ways that we can be involved. And I encourage you then, and I encourage you again tonight to think about what you're willing to do. If you're willing to watch bills, if you're willing to send in comments or record comments, if you're willing to go down to Olympia and appear at a committee hearing on a particular bill. I just have this hunch that they might not get done in, what do we have, a 60-day this year?
This is a short.
Yeah. I have a hunch that we're not gonna get done what needs to get done in 60 days. And the governor may end up having to call a special session. It's difficult because last legislature, we hoped we would get certain things. We got a little bit in special ed. We got a little bit in EDSOC, but we didn't get what we had hoped for. The timing of 230 or more FTE students is good for us. I welcome any questions or comments you have.
Well, if we get into this session, this year, the priorities that they've got and the legislature's got in order to meet cash the checks that they've written, is that priority clear in people's minds? In other words, is it clear that they're gonna pick is education gonna be a top tier, or is it gonna be pay raises for state employees? In other words, is it clear how they're gonna attack this? I'm gonna say I have not studied it. I'm just asking rhetorically.
Well, they're already taxing us. I mean, from the last legislative
Yeah,
session, what they need to figure out is why that scheme didn't yield the revenue that they thought it would, even though it's been proven time and time again, when you tax people to death, you don't collect it. And I mean, just my business, taxes have gone up by about $1,200 per month. Because of them recategorizing what could be taxed, right? And other boards that I sit on, that nonprofits. I'm on the symphony in Olympia, and now our live performances are taxed on a nonprofit. Now that organization, you think we're on a tight budget? Holy moly, that's like cliffhanger every freaking year, right? And so they're already doing that now, and I've always said the most dangerous time for Washington state citizens is when the legislature is in session, because common sense does not prevail. And the governor has come out and said, hey, I don't want to do any more taxes, I want it to be cuts, but he said that last time, he did too. And so who knows? But I don't think the people really understand, You know, I don't think the average citizen really pays attention to it. They're out busy living their lives and trying to survive and wondering why eggs are $15 for, you know, a dozen. Those have come down, by the way. But you know what I'm saying is that people, they can get away with so much because people just don't pay attention, and then they wonder why it's so expensive. Now, what they're gonna do with schools, I have no idea. That's really the bad one.
And the only thing I could say is that over the last month, I've been in meetings with probably 5 or 6 different legislators who've come to support. So I've spoken to them, and they were different parties, and all of them have suggested that education is not likely to be cut. I'm not, that, you know, they're politicians, right? But that's what the message was to us superintendents. They didn't anticipate cuts for education. Of course, they didn't give us much more before, so last time around, so.
Says the people that didn't know that PTO wasn't really funded.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
So,
I accept what they say is gospel, yeah. Right?
Okay.
Depending on what you hear in the news, the costs that the state of Washington will incur will be in the hundreds of millions based on the weather-related crisis that we're dealing with right now. And we're not out of it yet.
Well, I'm sure Bob can go to President Trump and ask for help. Right? I mean, they've established such a good relationship with one another.
That's what I've got for right now.
Okay,
When
thank you.
we come back in January.
We'll mark talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
All right, so now we're going into policy. Can I please have a motion to
Oh, no, this is.
not for the first reading?
Right.
Okay. So just announce the policies then?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first reading of policy, 1005,
See a lot of
key functions of the board.
cross outs and a lot of, I mean, used up a lot of blue ink on this. Anything to report on this, Jerry?
no, with that.
Why all the changes? I know it's an old policy, but
I had read reviews, I'm not.
I find it interesting that there's 1005 exists now. It has to.
yeah, it's from like 2000.
2012.
No,
No.
2000 is when it was last updated.
Oh, it is.
I was reading them.
So 25 years ago.
We have discussion from this.
It's just an opportunity to ask any question, and we'll move to the next one if they don't have any discussion. This next time, well, move to adopt, discussion, and vote. So if they don't have any.
You have any questions, comments? We will move on then. Policy 1210, annual organization meeting, last day updated February 2021.
Yeah, this is what we just did.
We were obedient to the policy today.
All right, well, then let's move on. There's no questions, comments. Down to 2170, career and technical education.
So this CTE thing is where you're,
That's what I'm working towards, yes, this is, it is classified as important, it's not required. I'm actually want to dig into this a little deeper because, I may, CTE is predominantly high school. And 7th and 8th grade, they've opened it up to sixth grade to take CT courses, but they don't fund it. I think I'm gonna, I wanna look at the language here. It's kind of designed for a district that's like K-12,
Right.
right? And so, I'm gonna,
Yeah, so they get dual credits, so
right.
a middle schooler can take a class, you can get the high school credit.
Right, so I'm gonna work on that one and have some more thoughts about it when we get back.
How come sixth graders like Washington State history? They don't start it and it doesn't count till and the seventh and eighth graders, they get the harder stuff. Why doesn't it start at sixth grade and then?
So,
I just feel like the CTE stuff, some of the qualifications doesn't fall under sixth graders, so it's only seventh and eighth graders or only eighth graders. Why do they do that?
well, a lot of times sixth graders are in elementary school, so they make some, so.
There's gotta be a line around that.
So, CTE is something we're working towards. We have one course approved, kind of languished while I was doing the two jobs, but, we're working towards, back up and bringing those. I have to work with North Mason CTE director because I don't have background knowledge in that. And so we're just picking brains and gathering information, but I might have some recommended language changes for this.
Great.
I have a question.
Yes.
Isn't a trained dog guide and service animal one and the same? Both are trained, correct? No, I don't. I mean, it seems though that is use of a trained dog guide or service animal. Does that mean they have a service animal besides the dog?
Yeah.
Like a service pony or a pony, service pony?
I'm trying to see my, but
Well, I think, isn't there a difference between trained
Dog.
dog guide and service animal? That's service animals. way
But
more
isn't a
broad.
service animal, I mean, isn't that, I mean, they're providing a service to the
Yes.
person. I'd like to see the word certified. Before, between A and trained. And I would like to remove dog guide and or and put service animal.
Mhm.
and I have put that stipulation on people who have requested therapy dogs. Here and then even at my other school, when I said, you show me they're trained, bring me something before we let that.
Yeah. But I'd like it to be in the policy too. Yeah, okay. And then I think we can just get rid of, just say service animal, right? And I'm not sure if I've seen too many certified service peacocks out there. I was trying to bring a peacock onto a plane, so like an emotional support peacock.
I think that's all that
Is he trying to sue Delta for not allowing it?
Okay,
Anyway, I'm good with that change.
any other comments? Let's move on to new policy 3425. Accommodating students with adrenal insufficiency.
I'm gonna ask on this one that have a conversation with our school nurse before we bring this forward, because I need to understand. Parent designated adult, because, I don't just want any parent designated, just anybody to, support, medical things, so I'm gonna ask that we put that one aside.
This one's, the classification is critical.
Yeah, it is, but
Right,
also
let's
it's
take-
critical, we not let just any parent decide. We don't have a student in that category currently.
What is it, Jerry?
It's a medical designation that allows
Is this a child that's uncontrollable and
has medical condition of an adrenal insufficiency and it allows the parent to have some input over that. I need to get clarity.
It's a thing, huh?
It's not a thing I've run across personally.
Did you guys just Google it?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
According to AI, so don't quote Andrea. Adrenal insufficiency is a condition where the adrenal glands don't produce enough essential hormones like cortisol and one that I can't pronounce. All does, yes. Leading to fatigue, weakness, low blood pressure, salt cravings, nausea, and weight loss, with severe cases triggering a life-threatening adrenal crisis.
So it's like a low energy.
Can be caused by an autoimmune disease.
So I anticipate us having that policy, however, I need to get clarity on what it means that a parent can designate another adult.
There's enough kids afflicted with that we, that,
Well, we think of like diabetes, right? We go to those trainings, medical trainings, and then we're designated to administer insulin. But this,
Sometimes the policy is not driven by the fact that there's a whole bunch of children in that situation, but maybe a child was not treated well who had that situation, and so the medical.
some lawsuit happened.
Some of the medical community and the legislature said we need to have a policy to accommodate that.
And they classify it critical.
Can we do as Jerry suggested and table this, and when we bring it back as another first reading
yes, yes.
instead of an action?
Yeah.
Okay,
I would say both of those, CTE and that will be the first reading once again.
okay, great.
Okay, any other comments? Move on down to policy 5,000, recruitment, selection, and evaluation of staff. And then that one, last updated is April of 2003.
Okay.
Any comments, questions?
Something
Can I-
done all the time.
Can I ask why we need a recruitment, selection and recruitment policy? I mean, we already. Yeah, shut up.
I think you're on the right track.
We have a,
It's something we do all the time, and we've been in conformance with our last policy, or we don't need it.
we have
We
a
do it.
policy about vacuuming the carpets, so.
Yeah, Jerry, this would be one that, in my mind, we've been doing this for a long time, and if you're in accordance with this.
It's, we have a policy already.
Yeah.
And this is an update. It's classified as important, but not required. So.
And it references 10 state laws.
You know,
Right,
Okay,
so it's really around background checks, personal social networking account, violations of civil action, pre-employment, so, okay, so it's all stuff that you do.
Yeah,
So,
this is essentially telling us we have to do this.
and it's somebody that can go through the steps and go, Jerry, you didn't do
And if we did do this, then there was an employment practices problem, and then it's on us, not you.
Okay, so now we're gonna move down to policy approval. I need a vote or sorry, a motion to adopt, like, blanket them, the policies, or do I just go through?
One.
Okay. Policy approval, policy 1630, I need a motion. Or, sorry, a motion for,
to approve.
motion to approve this
I'll
policy.
be the person.
second,
Discussion then for us now. So this is interesting that this is dictates that contract with the superintendent will not exceed 3 years. And I don't know, this is a new policy, isn't it?
It was last revised and. No,
2000,
October 2000.
Oh, no, that should be the adoption date. I need to fix that. The prior revised date is January of 2017.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. Any comments, questions?
None here.
Okay, we move on for a vote, please. All in favor?
Hi.
Okay, pass that one. Now I need a motion to approve policy 1820. Board self-assessment.
So moved.
so moved. Second.
Questions, comments?
So Tom, before, as I was coming on the board, the self-assessment that was done then was a loss-based assessment. You guys are doing that? Or we did it shortly after I got on the board. That's the last one I remember we did. Comprehensively. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And now this refers back to the laws of school board standards again. And so it looks like it's taking us back to that assessment tool.
I don't think you have to use that tool, but it's saying we agree to review and assess our performance. That's one tool.
Wasn't Chris right on that?
I was just gonna ask, this is a self-assessment, so he
Oh,
was
right.
elected on behalf of work, so.
Hmm. Well, we're piped right into his office.
And the frequency that this is done,
So are you thinking towards putting something in here saying that we gotta do this yearly?
can use the city goals, the result will be reviewed, discussed.
In some sense, I think.
This looks like an annual.
The retreat.
The retreat.
It states annual.
And the board will assess its own performance. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, it says for the subsequent year. Been a while since we've actually followed that.
Yeah, we've been here.
Jerry used the laws of the self-assessment, but I think it's Jerry referred to. You do different self-assessments for the board.
I think we followed it pretty religiously during a time of upheaval. And then things have been relatively good and harmonious for quite a long time. And I think the last time we did anything like that is when Les came on board, right?
That's just that.
Yeah. So I'm fine with it.
I look at, if we were looking at board self-assessment and how to meet engagement of the community and education, you certainly have that when it comes around the props creation by members of the community for setting up the really want that our productions, our drama productions.
Yeah.
The band that you just talked about, others that come in.
Volunteers every day.
Yes.
I mean, the school.
Less, another thing that we did that was more holistic and not specifically with the board, but we did touch at the board with this when we did the SWAT.
Oh, yes.
So I felt like that was
Yeah.
our school as a whole, but I thought we also spent time discussing us and how the board.
So that's true.
That was,
Yeah.
that was in some format, an assessment of us.
Well, you can also technically consider what we just did as an assessment. We assessed that you were over your term limit and I had to
Yeah.
switch it out. I mean, if you really wanna get technical.
And I think that you bring up a really good point, and I don't know if one way to carve this out, and this is just a rhetorical statement, as an annual SWOT assessment. If it's something that's simple, a strength, weakness, opportunities, and a threats review of the school, of our
The
function.
district and then.
I'm just throwing that out as, reading between the lines and whether or not, I mean, you talk about responsible school district governance, communication, commitments to high expectations for student learning, creating conditions for district-wide for staff, for student and staff success, holding the district accountable for student learning, engagement of communities and education. That's us. That's what we're about. I mean, that's what you're, and Cindy and the staff, the teachers, that's what you got to do and do it well.
So we kind of do it, but never really quantify it.
So now, does this become something that Right told me his band is gonna be looking for somehow?
It's no report, it's self-assessment, so
Okay.
we don't have to submit a report to him saying that we all got A's, you know.
Or a one.
Yes.
We'll take that all over. The lowest of those are.
Well, they took that out of one, so it'd be safe.
I know, that's why I said.
Look at all the board members and you have it.
Can we get this to a vote, please? All in favor? Aye. Okay, so now we'll move on to new policy 1821, standards for individual school directors.
No motion.
Oh, sorry. I would like a motion to approve new policy 1821.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, huh?
This is brand new to us. Is that correct?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Questions, comments?
Well, doesn't our operating agreement, and this would be maybe something, Jerry, that, you look at our values and ethical behavior, our leadership, our communication. Every year we annual professional development, although, I don't know, professional development. That's probably something that we don't do, our accountability and our commitment to education equity. Probably with the exception of that professional development, the operating agreement, it outlines 4 or 5 of those, and we do that annually.
Yeah, so it might be worthwhile, pull this out next time we did our operating agreement. To put this out with that and have that compare with, have the conversation and see if those pieces are all present, or if we need to include some and change some, and that would be a form of evaluation of ourselves as a board.
I would like to table this until we do that, and so how we do that is
I have a question, see,
we vote it.
So,
Table.
Sorry.
Lynn has something to say.
yeah, I just, under professional development, C. That, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around that one. Participating in professional development individually and with the board superintendent team, is that what we're signing up for, or we signed up for, is that what we're doing?
So it does happen in school districts, particularly larger districts where they have a little more money and they send their whole board to watch the conferences.
Right.
Things. So I sent one of my board members from my other district to go. And I was at the WASDA conference when you went the first time. So it's a good thing. It's not necessarily where you.
My point was, is this. There's not a time frame associated with this. So, how do you hold yourself accountable? If there's no. I'm just saying, it's very overly broad. I mean, I get the fluffy words and, hey, we're gonna do this, or go to a conference or whatever, but. Just a, yeah. And I don't wanna.
It's worth investigating. There are state laws that mandate that school board directors do certain levels of training and that includes you. And I've communicated with you about where I stood with the courses that I'm supposed to be responsible for. Let's see if we can figure out what those are. I think there's probably another policy that speaks directly to training requirements.
Yeah, is there a parent document that reference that drives this?
You're talking about the OPMA requirement that you guys have to fulfill every 4 years.
Yeah, but there's other ones beyond that as well.
Open public meetings.
So we'll get a report on,
What's the review, whether or not that would fall under that.
I just read it and I don't know how to,
Yeah,
I don't know how to check that a lot.
I agree that it's pretty lofty goals.
Yeah, and I personally like that it's vague because I know in my life, I would not be able to accomplish all of that.
I mean, that's okay. I just, mostly expectations and,
Oh, yeah,
and, you know, we call this a policy.
right.
My previous background, things were kind of black and white. And so if we're gonna live in the gray, I'm okay.
Well, welcome to government. So, I don't actually believe that we need it. But, you know, this is someone sitting around justifying their position, writing up crap. You know, and I like Tom, I believe that there's probably something in our tome of policies, right? That speak to those, but anyway, I think it would be a good idea for us to table it and revisit it at our next opportunity. Or
And I would
sometime
add,
in the-
to that, if we could do a brush with the operating agreement, what we would cover with that, because that's an annual review. Whether or not going to a lodge of conferences is an example of a professional development, whether my role on the engineering advisory board for the civil engineering, if that's an example of staying confident in my own skills.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to be, I just hate to sign up for a check that I can't cash.
Yeah,
and I would say not every board has such a well-developed operating agreement that they review every year. And just kind of apply that as well, and this is covers.
and when you think about what our actual reason for being here is, we're the community oversight. You know, we help guide, guide the school, we help, and we're providing the community with oversight of their taxes and going to, with the mission of educating the community's youth, right? And we get a lot of information from people that actually do that. And, our job is not to micromanage and go to professional development to know exactly what Cindy does in a day. And, I don't know. I don't know how to run a school, right? And when I would get the thank you cards, from the kids, thanks for running our school. And I'd always write them back, I don't run the school, you do, no. And thank your teacher. And so really this goes way beyond what our job actually is. And I know we like to, like you were saying, flowery words and, kind of, it's a feel good, but personally, I don't want to adopt a policy just to, feel good. And then you have to follow it, right? Because, so I think we should table it, bring it up in the future, parallel with our operating agreement, see how that squares.
Okay,
So we
And-
vote, get your vote down.
That's right.
let's vote on policy, the new policy 1821, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, so.
If you look at the deed sentence, in the policy, it says review the laws that individual school director standards. We need to get our hands on that.
It's rows down, we can just decide to table it.
Okay. So they don't have to be.
That's kind of note for us to bring it back. We said, no, wait,
I mean, technically,
we'll bring it back.
technically, what we could have done is I would move to modify the motion to table it, and then person that moved it could accept it as a friendly amendment, and then we would vote on that, right? But the way we did it was just, yeah.
So
Learning all this fast stuff.
Very rarely does this happen.
you need to review the laws that individual school director standards,
Yes, yeah,
because those are based on state law.
You're referring to the policy 1821.
Yes.
Okay. And then we need to redo the policy of 1820 to have that table again. I need a motion to approve future agenda items.
no, you don't.
No, just go on to it, okay. So future agenda items, January board meeting. I don't have the date on here, that's the 28th, the 28th. And then we'll resume student recognition, my favorite part. Superintendent mid-year evaluation.
Oh.
So before we go past that, I will give you, I did my first pass at the performance evaluation for jury 24-25. Even though theoretically that would have been in June. No, that was our mid-year was in
We go with them, yeah, mid-year, and then we finalize it.
right now, so in reality, is it it's not a mid-year, it's essentially a beginning. That it goes through the school year 26. I know it goes 26-27, right, Jerry?
Well,
So this, you just give me a copy, and I'm assuming we got some input on for the school year, the evaluation, which is 25-26. It's a mid-year summation and review. And then at the end of the year, it's usually a little quicker because you already have done most of that.
Okay.
And you just kind of wrap it all up and have an end of the year evaluation.
So I'm doing your end of the year now.
Mid-year,
Now, but we're talking about setting up so at the offsite, we went through a path with your delivery. Correct?
Yeah.
So that would be the starting point for your mid-year, so to speak. Correct? I think so. Okay, so I'll wrap this up and get it to the other, board member. They want to add to it, but that would be the. Because I had it for 24-25,
it should be 25-26
so the next one would be 25-20.
this year.
Yeah. For a little bit out of sick things, but
We're still getting.
we'll get through it.
Okay, and then retirement recognition of Sherry Margera.
what we're probably going to do is delay that to the end of the school. year,
Oh, okay.
because, she is retiring, but because of the way it rolled out, we're slowing that down. She's still gonna be working with us a little bit, so we're gonna kind of do it at the end.
Okay.
I think we can so she walks out the door.
Right.
She will not want.
She won't want to.
She deserves one.
She deserves.
Yeah.
We have to.
Flowers.
We may have to like force her into it. Yeah.
Stay tuned from Barkadell.
So
Okay.
Mason Denson, like we did for Tracy, is not in order.
No, she will turn around and walk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but the doors will be locked.
Barb will
Handle it.
take the cue for that.
Love it. Okay, reflections. Let's start with, Wes.
Oh, all right. I am, well, for starters, Merry Christmas to everyone. And, I am very, very happy with the people we have at the helm here. And, feel like the school is in really good hands. And I think our enrollment shows that we do have a good reputation and we want to maintain that. And not to be too worried about ebbs and flows of, enrollment. And, yeah. I'm just very content with the school. I'm very happy with where it's been. I'm super happy with the JV victories. That is incredible. When my kids were going here, the other teams took pity on us and would stop keeping score at a certain trouncing, and so it's just so fun to see the programs that have developed here, and it just is great. So that's my reflection, I think.
Thank you. Tom?
Oh, and I have some violins if you need any.
I'll
Yeah.
call Miss Shannon along.
Okay, all right, so.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's exciting to be sworn in again. But don't expect me to run 4 years from now, okay? This is an easygoing board to be part of. And I say that because of the participation that our board has done with other Mason County boards in years past, in the conversations I had with other board members from those other districts. And some of the antics that transpire in some of those board meetings. We're fairly reserved and easygoing here. And I think that's a indicator of the quality of the organization and the community and how the community school district work together effectively. And I really like Jerry's red Christmas. And I'm glad that we're gonna get Jerry inked to a 2-year contract.
Yes. Great.
To
Thank you, Tom. So Les?
So I reflect back to 1957. And the fact that I hear Cindy talk about a band is just over the top from my point of view and perspective of what's gone on during 65 years. And then I see Steve and I say, didn't Michelle used to play mandolin? And all of a sudden there's mandolins coming your way with a community volunteer to help with that. So anyway, I'm just overwhelmed by that. It's really cool. So nice shot, by the way. And like to the point that Tom made, it's been being the chair and whatnot. I've really got engaged in this and gotten involved, and I'm going to miss it and really turning it over to good hands and looking forward to work with them. By the way,
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Paul.
Lance?
Happy to be here and looking forward to serving with you all and looking forward to the progress of the school and the kids. And Merry Christmas to all.
Well, Lance, I'm sure happy to have you here and excited that you got the wisdom and are you questioning things, and I'm excited for that. And what else? care of the kids even today. I know my son's ready for break and the big dark has really gotten to us. But I am happy for the sports and all these other extracurriculars to keep our kids engaged and happy. And I think that also tells to a thriving school is how many kids want to sign up for basketball? How many kids want to sign up for volleyball? Like to have a good turnout like that just makes my heart happy. And on that note. Gary?
Use the word thriving school, and I would say that this is a thriving school. And when I meet with the volunteers, one of the things I tell them, was that, there's good schools and great schools. I've been in lots of schools. And a major factor in the difference between a good school and a great school is the community that surrounds it and supports it. And now that I'm working at a board level, board, I see that that's a profound influence in the culture of the school as well. So, part of that is that you live out the operating agreements each meeting, each day you're part of the school, and that flows through the whole institution. That's kind of a neat thing to see. And then I would just say thank you for bumping me up to the 4 days so that I can do one job only. And
for 2 years, not for one.
yes, in 2 years, and hopefully that should bring my blood pressure down a bit. And give me a time for a couple other things. So thank you very much. I appreciate seeing you.
Yes.
Any other comments, questions?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, yes. Merry Christmas. So it's the 7 o'clock exactly. Do I have to?
Cindy on that, take us, I have to.